ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Timberjack's Woodshop. My name is Steve. It's been about a year since I posted my wooden can crusher video. And by the way, your comments and the participation and the subscribers and the viewers have been fantastic. I've enjoyed the exchange, so I want to say thank you very much. Keep viewing, keep subscribing. It's been a great experience. But just after I posted that video, I came up with a mechanical design modification to the can crusher, and I've been working on it since. It's a simple design, simple modification, but I wanted to share that with you today in today's video. So this video, I'm going to build this can crusher with that modification and show you how I do it. The modification is what I call an automatic Crushed Can Dispenser Platform. That's a lot of words for a very simple device, a very simple process, but allow me to demonstrate it for you. After you crush the can, you have it here, it's mounted against the wall. When you lift the platform up, the platform itself goes up on an angle, and then the can slides out into the trash. So, very simply put, the automatic Crushed Can Dispenser Platform operates off of a peg system, and I'll show you in the video how I've built that. Once again, thank you very much. We'll go to the video. Okay, so before we get to the video of how to build the can crusher and incorporate the design feature, I just want to show you a close-up. If you look at the platform here, the crushing assembly, I've actually made that out of oak, and I've made the platform underneath there out of oak just because it's a harder wood and it'll last longer. However, once you crush the can and it goes down, boom, you lift the handle back up again, the platform comes up, and it will actually catch, if you can see it in there, on a pin right there, and below is the other pin, and what it does is it raises the platform up on an angle so the can then slides out. Okay. Okay, so for this can crusher, what I'm going to do is cut out all my pieces. Let's see, this is a piece of 1x6 clear pine, 8 foot, and that should be all you need to create one of these can crushers. I'm using a piece of oak for the crusher platform and assembly. Since this can crusher is a modified edition, as I explained earlier, I'm going to use oak just because it's a harder wood. The hardware that's necessary are these threaded rods, these acorn nuts, some regular nuts, and some washers. I use 1/4x20 threaded rods and the associated cap nuts for them, and they'll go on the arm joints, the pivots. So what I'm going to do is cut out all my pieces. So my basic shapes are cut. You can see that I just have that set up together here. You can see the essence of the can crusher. So I have the two sides here, the back piece. I have the lower platform. My arm will go here, trying to hold this for you so you can see. So the arm will operate this way. These are the 2-inch blocks that will go up here and hold the arm. And these right here are the two assemblies that will attach to the arm and then attach down here to the crusher. So what I have to do now is I have to do some measuring to the inside here. This is about 4 inches, so I need to make that about 3 7/8. I want the platform set in, so when you lift it, it comes up and it dumps the can. I want to build the crusher assembly so it fits nicely inside here, and I also have to create the groove inside that allows the mechanism, the lift mechanism for the platform. So I have to do some calculating in that regard, and I'll keep you apprised of that as I do it. So everyone can see the table that actually lifts to drop the can into the garbage can is right here. This is what I'm working on. It's a piece of oak. It's a little bigger than 1/8 of an inch. It's what I call 1/8 of an inch fat. And I'm going to put this piece of oak in the recess here. And the mechanism on the back wall here is going to have a finger here, as you saw earlier. And when you lift the handle up, it's going to lift that up and it's going to dump the can over, much like this. So that will automatically drop the crushed can into the garbage can that's set in front. So I'm working on that now just to fit that all in. I'll give you a picture of it when it's done. All right, so the adjustable bottom, or the slide bottom, is fit inside. It can't come out. It's movable. It has space to move. And again, once the handle is lifted up, the actuating arm will lift and drop the can. So that's what it looks like inside. Now it doesn't have to lift a lot, and I don't want it to lift a lot, so I only want it to go to a certain height, just enough of an angle to drop something that's in there. So if we do this, that's all we need it to lift. So that's all it's going to do. Plunger assembly, I did the rough cut groove that you can see with my dado, and these are the grooves that will slide along the rails. You can see I lined them up so that they actually fit. And here for the plunger arm assembly, I have made these arms 13 inches long, 2 inches wide, and I've drilled the center hole at 1 inch. And this is the center wheel that will go in between the two arms here, and that's a 2-inch circle, and I've drilled a hole in the center, and that's a 1/4 inch hole. And now I'm just going to cut these out. After rough cutting all of my plunger pieces, I put them together roughly, put my 1/4 inch rod through all my pieces to see that they line up. Now these are all going to be routed with a round over bit, so they'll be smooth, but basically this is how they go together. The space that you see in here is going to be taken up by washers, but that's the assembly. This is the rear, and that'll go along the rail along with the sides. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to recess this to receive the 1/4 inch nut that will hold this rod in place on both sides. So right now it's the size of a 1/4 inch rod, and I'm going to widen it so it receives the nut, and the nut is recessed. I'll do that with another drill bit the size of the nut, and then I'll be able to sink it right in there. So this is what I'm talking about with the nut being recessed in, so when it slides on the rail there won't be any obstruction. So I just measured the size of the nut, got a drill bit to match, recessed it the depth of the nut, and we should be okay. And then the rod will thread through and tighten down, and I'll get to the rod when we're ready. I'll show you what I do with that. Okay, I'm not sure if you can see the profile that I put on these, and it's got a rough sand to it right now, but that's the way the nut will work with the rod in it recessed in that groove. Okay, and I did. You could put any profile you want on these. Simple round over. I did a little bit of a raised ridge here. I just think it looks kind of nice. I'm pretty proud of this piece of machinery right here, so I kind of go out and try to make it look as fancy as possible. I will tell you, practice on your profiles before you do it on your actual pieces, because they'll break. Okay, here's my 1/4 inch rod for the plunger assembly, and I cut it down the size. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a groove in the top of that, so that when I slide it into the assembly, I'll have something with a flathead screwdriver that I can actually use to tighten it down and get it between both nuts. I get it between, let's see here, I get it between all of this and then be able to tighten it down. I'll show you. Okay, I think you can see that. I put a groove in there, and I'll show you how it works. Okay, so here's how this works. Hopefully you can see this. I'm going to take my rod here. I'm not going to use the washers right now, just to show you. First part goes through, the wheel goes through, third part, and then this part goes through here. And then we push it through. We take the nut, we put it on this side, and we go in, we turn it just a little bit till it catches. We take the nut here, put it in here, tighten it down, and you'll see that's a little proud. So once that's a little proud right there, take my screwdriver. I got a little screwdriver, put it in that groove I created, tighten it down there so it's flush, and then you'll see here it's flush as well. Hopefully you can see that. So we're good, and that's how you can tighten it down. Okay, and then it obviously works like that. And I'll put the washers in to make it a little smoother. What I've done here is I've disassembled my can crusher. These are the walls, and what I've done is I've put the 1/4 inch rail on it. I've temporarily attached it here with a angle on it so I can show you when this piece, the platform, the lifting platform, is sitting flush and the lifter in the back lifts it up. I only want it to lift to that point. I don't want the rail to be an obstruction. So I've kind of angled it that way so that when it does lift, it'll only go that high and it won't be a problem with it lifting. So I'm going to put it together and see how it works. Make sure all my rails are straight and it doesn't bind. The chassis is put together. I don't know how to back away from here. Let's see. Let's do this. Okay, the chassis is put together, and I put a little piece of tape here so I can lift up the chassis, the platform. So let's see if I'm showing that properly here. So it'll move like this. You can see that. I only go that far and dump the can once it's crushed. So that seems to work. And leave that down. If it's done correctly, everything should work. Everything should fit in. And it should slide down. So it'll slide on its rails. And it won't come out. So we got that. Now all I have to do is put the base on the plunger. But those rails seem to work nicely. Okay, alright, so I've assembled the bottom pad, the crushing pad, which is right here. That's oak. This platform is oak, just to make it a harder wood. And then I put this all together and went to slide it down and realized that the nuts here are just slightly proud of the recessed groove, and they're striking my rail. So I have to recess these just a little bit more. Oops, sorry. So they go in nice and smooth. So, okay, so there we go. Now we have it. So everything is flush and there's no obstruction on both sides. Good. So I mounted my receivers, my handle receivers here, which is the first pivot point. So they're on. This second pivot point is here, and of course the plunger assembly is there. So in essence, I don't know that I can pull back enough. The entire can crusher functions without a problem. So that will crush a can. But what I want to do now is inside there where that platform is, I want to build a mechanism that will lift that platform, dump the can. Once you raise that up, it'll raise that platform and the can will slide into a trash can in front of the can crusher. I'm going to work on that. All right. So I've constructed the mechanism that will lift the platform, and we'll just give it a little demonstration, and then I'll explain to you how it works. So we crush the can, and then lift it back up. It goes in the garbage. Let me show you how I did it. All right. On the chassis of the can crusher, you'll see that I put two oval holes in. What those will receive is this machine right here. It's got two wooden dowels on it. The top one here will catch the top of the can crusher, and the bottom one here will catch the platform. So in essence, when I put it behind here, and I'll show you, when that top dowel is, let's see, I don't know if you can see it, it's blurry. That top dowel is activated, it'll lift up and cause that to lift. Really that simple. And to receive that machine in the back, all I did was on the router, I routed out a 3/8 inch deep groove that corresponds with the holes. Oops. This slides in and then is able to move up and down the required space. Now this will be held in once this entire unit is put against the wall and held. This piece will stay put. So I don't have to worry about attaching it with anything, and all I do for shipping purposes is just put a piece of tape on it like that to hold it until such time as it's mounted against the wall. Then it won't go anywhere. And it won't bind up against the wall because the piece itself is recessed. So when this goes against the wall, you'll see that this is less of a diameter, so it won't get stuck. And that's really all I did, and that's a matter of measurement. So now I'm just going to clean her up, and she is complete. Ta-da! Thank you.